Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. So today I am bringing you another DIY tutorial of this amazing little farmhouse sign. I've been wanting to make a giant one of these for so long. I've made so many of the smaller ones. I'm sure you've seen them in our other videos. But I finally had the chance to go out and buy a big piece of lumber and make this sign. So stay tuned for a full tutorial of how to make this sign yourself. So I wrote a full blog post about this DIY farmhouse inspired sign, so you can check that out at brookeandallgood.com. But anyways, today I'm going to go through just the whole process from start to finish and where I found my inspiration and obviously where it is now. You can kind of see that we're starting a gallery wall, and I'll talk more about that later on. So first, let's start with where I found the inspiration for this. So like I mentioned, I've seen so many of these signs everywhere, and I've seen a bunch on Etsy, and I've always wanted to buy one, but they're literally like $100 to $180 for these big giant ones. And I just wasn't willing to spend the money. So I was just waited until I had the time to do this myself, and I ended up only spending like 30 bucks. And I'm sure if you did this at home, if you didn't have any of the things that I used, you could do this for under 50. So I immediately started looking at Pinterest for different quotes and inspiration for what I wanted my sign to look like. I knew I wanted earth tones to match the rest of our house. I wanted white and black. So then I had to decide, what quote did I want to use? Well, I found one, and it was love grows best in little houses with fewer walls to separate. It's this big long quote, and I actually started painting that quote, and it was just so complicated and so long that it was gonna drive me insane. So I went to Sean, I was like, what quote do you want me to use on this sign? And he came up with this one. And obviously we've seen it elsewhere, but grow old with me, the best is yet to be. So it's really simple, but it means a lot to us, and we've heard it for years. So that was my inspiration, and then I moved on to actually buying the materials. So I started with this board I just bought at Menards, and the blog has all the links to all the materials and the price, and you can find everything on brookeandallgood.com. But I basically wanted a big board that I knew I could cut to make it whatever size I wanted, and then I bought furring strips, which are the darker pieces, and they're so cheap. They're like $3 for an 8-foot furring strip. And that's what makes the frame around the sign. So I knew I wanted that farmhouse look. So you have to have the furring strips around there for the frame. So after buying the board, I cut everything down to size, cut the furring strips to make the frame. So the two top pieces are longer than the side pieces. And then I stained my furring strips and attached those on and painted the back of my sign white. And then the next step was actually writing my quote. So there's 3 different ways, and I talk about this in the blog. There's 3 different ways for you to go about writing the quote. So obviously one way is to stencil it, or what I actually did was print out my quote ahead of time and got the font and size I wanted and just printed it out and kind of cut it out and use that as like my guide. And I stenciled a few letters, and it just really helped me envision like, okay, this is how much space I have, this is how long my words are, and make it look cohesive and, you know, level and all that. Your second option is to just freehand your quote on in pencil. So you can look at a picture or just from your head, just pencil out your quote ahead of time. And then the third option, which is my favorite but is so hard, is just completely freehand it. So take your paint and start writing. So then it was time to actually start painting my sign in the quote. So I decided to go with black chalk paint, and you can get this from Amazon, Michael's, I'm sure any craft store. It's pretty cheap. It's like 10 bucks for a big can of it, but I wanted to use the chalk paint because it already gives it that rustic antiqued look, versus like just an acrylic based paint is going to, you know, have that glossy sheen to it, versus the chalk paint is like very matte. I started painting my quote, and it did take a lot of time. But you know, that's one of my things is when I'm doing DIY projects, I just take my time. If it takes me a week, if it takes me a month, that's what it does. This only took me one night, so you guys can definitely do it in, you know, a few hours. But yeah, I like to take my time and really make sure I'm getting my wording right and everything looks clean and crisp. So I wanted to show you real quick my gallery wall as of now. I'm gonna do a full blog post on the whole thing once I get it done, but I've just been like hoarding little pictures or signs or different frames for so long, and I'm finally, like, this was my main focal point of the wall, so I wanted to get this done first and then kind of incorporate everything else around it. So I'll definitely be writing a full blog post and maybe a video once I get this gallery wall done, but I wanted to show you guys a little sneak peek on here. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope this helps one of you in your own little DIY project with this farmhouse sign. Let me know in the comments if you liked this or if you tried it at home, and send me pictures. Also, don't forget to check out the blog for the full details. I linked the website down in the description box. And lastly, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and make sure you're subscribed to Sean and Brooke. We really appreciate your support, and we'll have much more videos to come. Thanks guys, bye.